Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
To SimSpeed TV for the final round of the Australian Formula Ford E-Series presented by FRG. We're at Phillip Island for this last round of the season, a classic Australian circuit, big track for these cars. Slipstream is going to be a huge part of the racing tonight, and we can't wait to bring it to you here live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch and Kick. It's me, Reese Gardner, with David Roberts alongside me in the commentary box. Jake Kennedy is behind the scenes pressing all the buttons and bringing you these live pictures. Well, David, we're going to have the sport category up first here at Phillip Island, a truly classic road racing venue in the Southern Hemisphere and one of the best circuits in Australia.
Really, really popular for the Formula Ford guys, and it's a place they all love to go in the real world and in the sim world. But tonight, it looks like we might have a little bit of Melbourne weather as well. Just possibility of a little bit of a shower somewhere during the race. Looking good.
Yeah, indeed. It'll play havoc with the drivers through the multitude of fast corners that this racetrack has. The way down into Dewan Corner and Southern Loop, it's very easy to lose the rear end in just about any race car. Major overtaking opportunities would be at Miller Corner and then at turn 10 up at MG. But I think the drivers will be focusing largely on managing the slipstream all the way from Siberia to Lukey Heights and then out from turn 11 all the way back down to Dewan. Could also see some slipstreaming on the way out of Southern Loop and through Stoner.
It's interesting, this circuit, in a Formula Ford, you actually are doing a higher speed as you enter Dewan Corner, or you get down to Dewan Corner, than you are at the end of the main straight at Bathurst. It is that fast. The run onto the straight is so quick, and then it's downhill, and quite often you've got a bit of a tailwind as well, that you actually go quicker here than you do at Bathurst, which you wouldn't normally think.
Well, here are the championship standings coming into this round. Benjamin Roberts has already wrapped up the championship with Steve Cordes and Mitchell Albert only separated by 2 points coming into the final round for second place. There's potential for Ian Shue to vault past both of them, but he's going to have a really good race, and Cordes and Albert are going to have a really bad race for that to happen. Kane Ryder could pursue Shue to fourth place in the championship if everything goes his way. Regardless, it looks like the standings are pretty close all the way through the top 10 if you take Roberts out of the equation.
Yeah, it's been pretty hard. Ben normally would have run pro, super driver, super fast, and is very capable of winning the pro class. But unfortunately, Ben couldn't commit to the pro class because he could only be around for 4 or 5 of the races out of the 8. So he didn't want to miss out, so he came and joined the sport. But take him out and look at the battle. Is 2 points there between second and third, and there's 9 points to fourth, and 4 points further back. So there's nothing, and there's quite a few points on offer for a win. So really would have been a tough battle, and it still is going to be a tough battle for who can take that runner-up position.
Yeah, certainly will be. Well, the format for tonight is the same as we've seen throughout the rest of the season. Pre-qualifying setting the 30-car field for this final round, with the drivers currently about to conclude their 4-lap solo qualifying session for the 30-minute race to come. There's no pit stops required, of course. It's going to be an out-and-out sprint all the way to the end, but it's all about survival, really. We've seen it throughout the entire season. Being able to get there to the end of the race is an achievement in and of itself, and with the high speeds involved, it'll certainly be an extra challenge thrown into the equation.
Yeah, it's going to be, it is a slipstreaming track, so you're going to be trying to time that slipstream and not to fall off the back of the guy in front. If you fall off the back of the guy in front, it's really hard to get back up with them. So you're going to be trying to sit in that slipstream, and then the last lap or so will be all trying to position themselves to be in the right place coming onto the main straight for that last lap. So up until then, it's all just keep it peaceful, calm, quiet, and stay on the toe.
Yep, the challenge will begin shortly with Kane Ryder taking pole position. Brett McBurney within a tenth of a second there to make up our front row. Hayden Millington in the 2-2-1 starting alongside Steve Cordes, with Mitchell Albert starting in 5th place just behind alongside Vaughan Ryder. Ian Zhu is going to start in 7th place alongside Daniel McCrohan, and then we have Michael Cullen and Chris Barnes rounding out our top 10 cars on the grid.
Yeah, that's a bit of a turn up in a few of those. There's Ross Hansen in 11th and Adrian Gretsch in 12th place, on both sitting on the 6th row of the grid, with Oliver Armott. Young Oliver is about 10, he's a 10-ish, I'm going to say. Kart racer, brilliant young guy, great driver, sitting there next to Sean McKenzie. Scott Harvey, privateer, in his beautiful blue car. Looks fantastic out there. David Riviere, another privateer, 16th. So they're on the 8th row of the grid. Back another row we go to Nathan Favero and Dean Williams. Dean's done a good job tonight and got himself well inside the top 20. And Gustavo Cirillo, bit out of position there, 19th place. Geordie Slater in 20th.
Starting out at 21st will be Sean Reed alongside Justin Long to make up the 11th row. And then we have Stephen Cassidus, quite a long way down there in 23rd, starting alongside John Wade. Matthew Becker and Paul Thompson, 25th and 26th. The 14th row of the grid taken up by Ashley Cutchy and Mark Bowman. And our final 2 cars, Martin Lipsky and Michael Gillespie. 30 cars getting ready to take to the start here at Phillip Island, which will be happening in just a few moments. Kane Ryder there over the bottom left of your screen, the front car in this field. It's going to be a massive start here, long run down to the first turn here at Phillip Island as the revs rise for the standing start, and we are away. Good initial reaction from Brett McBurney, and he's going to try and keep that momentum up, but he'll have to slip in behind Kane Ryder for the run down to turn 1. Slipstream battle already starting between Cordes and Albert, battling for that second place in the championship coming into this final round as they are through Dillon Corner for the first time. And then into Southern Loop. Got to be careful to give each other a good amount of space here on the first lap. No one wants to be the cause of the big one.
And it's very easy to lose the back end of the car through there on the cold time. You get pretty loose through there as you go over the crest anyway, so they've done a good job to get all 30 through there without a problem. Down here through Stoner Corner and into, I still call this Honda.
Yeah, indeed. Takes a little bit to shake it off as, oh dear, Geordie Slater has had a big incident with John Wade at the back of the field there. They'll get back going, but I don't know if Geordie Slater's going to be in any shape to get back to the pits after that incident. It's a typical incident that we see down at that hairpin there on the first lap of a race. Very easy to get into other cars when you are hard on the brakes, shifting down through the gears. Well, up to MG. It looks like there haven't been any further incidents in the field, at least thus far. So we'll see if there's any further as they clamber all over the curbs here to try and keep themselves ahead of each other. Dean Williams, I noticed back in the field, struggling with a little bit of understeer, but this is how it stands at the end of the first lap. Ryder and McBurney still holding on to their positions. In fact, the top 5 still occupying the positions they started in. Ian has gotten ahead of Ryder, and now we're starting to see a move. Steve Cordes getting past Hayden Millington up in the slipstream, and he'll move up into 3rd place by the time they get into the southern loop. So, Paul Thompson and Geordie Slater, it looks like, the car's under investigation for the incident. It looks like Scott Harvey's had a massive off there in turn 1. And I'm not too sure if there's damage, but he'll be careful getting back onto the circuit from that.
Yeah, that's a long way off the track in there, but you're going pretty quick when an accident or an incident happens there, so it's not surprising. I also saw there as we came down the main straight young Oliver Armit making a bit of a move on Adrian Gretsch. I don't think he's managed to pull it off, but he's certainly trying hard to get by.
Well, this is a replay of the incident that happened between Geordie and Paul, coming down to, clambering all over the back of him there. Looks like that was Thompson getting all over the back of John Wade, I believe, and Geordie Slater, an innocent victim of that one. So race control have decided Paul Thompson worthy of a drive-through penalty for causing that incident on the first lap.
Pretty quick from race control, they're right onto it, and we've got a new system that's posting race control outcomes live onto the screen, so we're going to get that a lot quicker tonight than normal, which is brilliant work by both the whole crew in the background. Jay's done a lot of work in that, fabulous. Ian Jude, he's struggling to hang on to that front group. He's on the verge of losing that slipstreams of the front crew, so he's trying really, really hard to get himself back onto the back of that. The first 3 are starting to make that little tiny break there over 4th place, and then there's back to Mitchell Albert, is it, in 5th, and there's Zhu in 6th, and he's really going to be pushing to get back in that front group. There's 4, now it's 4 breaking away. So the 4th car then, Hayden Millington's jumped back onto the queue, so that's good to see a bit bigger battle like that.
Yep, this is further back in the field meanwhile. This is the problem for the O2 of Scott Harvey. Just lost the rear end coming into the Doohan Bend, and very easy to happen at high speeds. These cars have very lively rear ends and no downforce to save you for rip through those fast corners. Well, we saw the lead being exchanged a bit between Kane Ryder and Brett McBurney, and Steve Cordes has found his way up into 3rd now, getting past Hayden Millington there, and the gaps are ebbing and flowing as it's a tight line by Millington coming into Lukey Heights. He's trying to shorten the run around the corner here, keep himself in the fight here in the top 4 as it's side by side between Albert and Zhu. Looks like Ian's going to get the inside there for the second last corner here at Phillip Island, but is he far up enough to get the draft as Ross Hansen is off coming out of MG?
That's a long way off the road as well, so but we see Zhu's got past Mitchell Albert there. Now he's got his head down, he's going to try and get himself back onto the back of that front 4 and get up in the mix for the lead. And Albert's coming with him down the outside from the toe there. So now we see here with Ryder sitting there in 2nd in his new livery tonight with Max Boost right over the side. And I've seen a couple of those cars out there, so it looks like they may have picked up a bit of sponsorship to debut for the final round. So that's nice to see. Cars looking fabulous. And
yeah.
So we've got that 4. See that gap in the middle there? That's a bridge too far for Zhu at the moment.
Yeah, you've got to be within 1 to 1.5 seconds of the car behind to really get the benefit of the slipstream as Ryder gets back up the inside of McBurney for the lead coming into the hairpin, but Siberia will allow him to keep the position for the time being. And this is the part of the circuit where Ian Zhu starts to make up ground, because the top 4 at the moment, they'll be tiptoeing around each other and even tripping over each other a little bit, trying to keep the gaps nice and stable, as there was contact there for the 3-2-3 of Martin Lipsky. Looks like Michael Gillespie was the one making that contact there, but into MG they come. Brett McBurney trying up the the inside of Kane Ryder. It's not going to work this time. He'll have to wait for the straight. And you see once again that Ian Zhu, Mitchell Albert, everyone down to Oliver Ahmed in 11th place, part of this front pack.
Yeah, because the fighting up front is slowing them down, and that's bringing everybody back onto the back of them. If they just kept their nose clean, sat side by side behind each other and didn't threaten each other, they could have, drawn out a good gap and had a fight between just one or two.
3 wide.
But look at this, 3 wide, 4 wide.
Not quite, but they will be Noah's Arking it through Doohan. And oh my God, there's the contact. Brett McBurney making contact with Steve Cordes there, and Cordes will try his best to get back onto the racetrack safely. Almost cleaned up the pack going through there.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to do. I've seen that in the real world where they veer off there and you're going so fast, you actually can't pull them up on the grass before you reach the track again. And it can be a bit scary. There's a couple more that may be as a result of what went on ahead. All they need to, we've got more rubbing.
Oh no.
Oh, yeah.
Little taps.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to wait and see how that works out between our front pack, and unfortunately we have completely lost Steve Cordes from all of this. This is the replay. Up the inside into turn 1, and he has Brett McBurney alongside him, and they just make contact in the middle of the corner there. I think it was a combination of Cordes running deep and McBurney trying to stay tight.
Yeah, and I think, I'm not sure because I couldn't quite see, but it looked like there could have been some net code in there, so where the cars don't actually touch, but the software thinks they're closer together than they are. So sometimes that can't be avoided. But race control, here they go. No further action for John Wade. I'm not sure if that's we'll see a result come up shortly. That's David Riviere, isn't it?
Yep, it is. David Riviere dropping down the standings, and the car that we saw spinning at Southern Loop was Scott Harvey. So here we go then, 3 wide again. Yeah, they're just continuing to run as they are here, this front pack. It's just a matter of can you stay out of each other's way on the way through the corners. Anyone can take it from here, as Michael Cullen has gone for a little bit of an adventure on the way into Southern Loop here. Look at the run from Kane Ryder here. He's not able to get his way through. Ian Zhu has found his way up into 2nd place and is now challenging Hayden Millington for the lead coming into the Jack Miller Bend. And Ian is going to get to the lead of the race with the inside line through the hairpin. Ryder will try and follow him through, but Millington has the inside for Siberia.
Yes, look, they've been 2 abreast since they came off the end of the straight, haven't they? It's just swarming like bees and flies and crazy. But they've just got to be careful because they don't want to touch each other and cause more incidents. We've got now, what we've got 6, 7 in the front pack. So once it was 8, now there's 7.
Yes, we've unfortunately very much lost Steve Cordes from the front pack here, as they'll try and avoid tripping over each other in MG here. Millington still keeping himself right in the midst of it here with Shu, and on the bottom of the screen we see that Steve Cordes has found himself back in 10th place. He's got Chris Barnes and Oliver Ahmed at the front of that pack there for 8th place. They're a long way behind that front pack, so it's going to be difficult to get things done here. It looks like there was a bit of contact there between Zhu and Ryder. They've both fallen back from the very front now. Millington will lead them coming into Doohan.
Boy, this is it's all over the place. So Zhu's back to 2nd. He's looked a bit slow through the eastern loop there, and we've got Hayden Millington leading away. He's made a little bit of a gap there. If he can get those guys fighting behind, he might be able to escape. But Zhu's around the outside of Brett McBurney, and sitting there watching it all with Kane Ryder sitting there in 4th. Really, I think he's got the pace to get by them, but there's just no track left to use.
Yeah, that's the big issue you have when you're racing at Phillip Island. You often just run out of track before you have the opportunity to get the move done. Really, you got to focus on your exits a couple of corners ahead of where you want to make the pass. It's just that kind of circuit. Incident involving Armit and Cullen on lap 6 under investigation by Race Control. So we'll see what eventuates from that. Race Control have been right on the money here with starting to investigate incidents pretty much as soon as they happen. And I'm sure they'll have a few more to negotiate here tonight, especially when the Pro Class starts racing later. For the time being, this 7-car pack for the front of the field, anyone is in it here to win. And Ian picking up the slipstream on Hayden as we see the replay of that incident. I believe that race control is investigating here. Just a bit of understeer there from Gillespie, and he ends up getting tapped.
Back to the leaders now. Millington's still in front. He managed to hold them off all the way down the straight. And Cortis has got to the front of that second pack. And now, if those guys keep holding themselves up front, it won't be very long. Cortis can be back in this fight.
Yeah, we'll have to monitor their lap times from here. At the moment, Cortis with a 39.574. No further action for Armit. It seems like, yeah, he was just holding his line there, and it was understeer for the number 30 of Michael Cullen, sorry. Cullen was the one getting spun around there. Misidentified a driver, my sincere apologies. In any case, now Ian Xu trying to keep Mitchell Albert behind him coming out of Siberia. Xu back to fourth with Ryder and McBurney now back up into the podium positions. This is some redemption here for McBurney. He'll continue to fight his way forward, and we'll keep an eye on those lap times. As I said, the leaders are running 139.3s at the very front, and that's about 2/10 faster than what Steve Cortis could manage on the last lap. But now that he has some clear air ahead of him, now that he potentially is able to take advantage of the slipstream of those around him, might be able to get back up to the pack by the time we enter the final 10 minutes of the race. At the moment, Xu, if the race were to end now, that fourth place would secure him second in the championship. But Mitchell Albert, remember, is only a position behind him at the moment on track. And Cortis, yeah, if he manages to catch up to them, he'll be able to get it done. Let's see then. 3 wide here for Brett McBurney through the middle as they make their way into doing again. Millington with a little bit of understeer losing the car, and here comes the 35 of Ian Xu round the outside of Southern Loop. Millington, I think, struggling to keep the car straight. Yeah, and the thing is, once one's in, they all jump in behind trying to get through on that on the back of the same car and not giving them a chance to get back to the line. And that was what was happening there. Millington managed to hang on to it and keep Xu out, but it's going to be like this for a lot. A lot more laps yet. Yeah, a lot more laps to come. We're about to reach the halfway point of the race in terms of time run, and Cortis is still there with the pack from 8th to 11th, but this lead pack is starting to slow each other up. Saw the lap times from the front of the field. McBurney with a 39.7, and the fastest of the pack was Kane Ryder with a 39.4, roughly equal with what Cortis is running at the moment. So we'll have to wait and see if these guys end up slowing each other up. Trying in the braking zone there was Xu to get alongside Millington, but it just wasn't happening. If you're on the outside coming into MG, very difficult to make the move. Now we'll see what the benefit of the slipstream is like from Mitchell Albert from P5 flat out through the final corner here at Phillip Island. You pick up the slipstream about here and you will have the run coming into Doohan, but seems like he's a little too far back to really make use of it at this stage. Ryder moving back into the lead of the race with McBurney protecting the inside of Doohan here from Millington. They'll run side by side and lock wheels, and around goes McBurney and Millington off the circuit into the gravel trap, and the slight bit of tarmac runoff there, and they will be well and truly out of the battle for the win.
Wow, that was a big one. We saw that on board. That was spectacular. Seeing it from the driver's eye view, following them in there, and seeing that car get launched into the air like that was pretty spectacular.
Yeah, not spectacular for their championship hopes, though. That was a very high-speed incident there that we saw. So this is the replay then. You see McBurney in the green and white car alongside here for the lead of the race, and then Millington tries to get his way in here, but at this point it just looks like he turns in a little too much and then interlocks wheels with McBurney in an open wheel race car. That is a death sentence.
Pretty lucky it stayed up the right way, to be honest. So and pretty lucky, at least in the E-world, there's nobody gets hurt.
Yeah, exactly. It also definitely helps that you don't have any financial penalties for incidents like that either. So we shall see what race control eventually decide. We have to keep our eyes on the battle for the lead, though. Now Zhu is free to race Kane Ryder and Mitchell Albert, as two more of the competitors have taken themselves out of the fight.
We've got Zhu, Ryder, Albert, Vaughan Ryder, and Daniel McCrone, who's been a bit quiet tonight. Daniel McCrone usually right on the front page. There's Hayden Millington coming into pit lane. Obviously got a bit of damage out of that.
I want to point out it's an iRacing issued black flag there that Millington got there for completely cutting Doohan Corner on his way back to the circuit. So,
right.
Yeah, unfortunate for him, though you do have a point. He probably would have some damage to repair, but he's going to have to stay in the pits for a while, serving that penalty before he can take any service.
That's a pity. But, yeah, honestly, his race was over the moment he took to the sky. So I can see them actually hauling in one of the bit of an off down there in the background, but I can see they're actually catching one of the slower cars or guys towards the back of the field. That's Oliver Armit coming back onto the road after an issue. But I can see them starting to catch some tail enders. So yeah, that could be interesting to see this front pack try and negotiate their way through there and see if anybody can use it to their advantage to get that little bit of a break. But Kane's putting a bit of a stamp of authority on this leading position at the moment.
Yeah, and well, Armit's incident there, he is now retired, unfortunately. Adrian Gretsch ran into the back of him in the braking zone for Miller, so that completely destroyed the car there for the number 9. You'll see it happen here. He's trying to protect the inside, and then bam, in the braking zone. Unfortunately, completely losing touch there, and it looked like the front suspension was destroyed in some other secondary incident after that. Regardless, we're back to the battle for the lead. 5th place, currently Daniel McCrone right at the back of this one. And no surprise to see race controls investigating that incident we just saw as well.
Yeah, so it's now down to a field of a battle pack of 5, and it's sort of I'm going to say 3 plus 2, because the 2 behind really haven't been able to sort of jump onto these and get mixed up in that podium positions. They've been sitting there on the back of it, and it's almost like they've got the speed to sit in the toe, but they haven't got the speed to make a move forward of these 3. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out as we get a bit further on, whether they're sitting there just quietly themselves or not, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think if you're at the back of a pack like this, you're content to just sit there and watch the guys in front battle, because you know as long as you keep within a gap, you still have a chance in the final few laps of the race. It's like racing on an oval at a track like this, really. If you imagine you're at Daytona or Talladega, for example, you don't want to be the one leading the pack all the way through, because you just leave yourself vulnerable to attacks on the final laps. If you can sit back in the slipstream, stay in touch with those in front of you, you'll be able to mount an attack when it really counts.
I'm not sure in these cars, though, looking at it now, can they actually tow past by the start-finish line? I don't think they can.
Yeah, well, you have to really nail the exit, I think, from the second last corner. It'd be a drag race to the line at the very least. And, I mean, if you can assert a move into MG, I think that's where the difference is really going to be made. No further action for Hayden Millington in that unfortunate contact with Brett McBurney, I believe. So race control deeming that one a racing incident. It's difficult to call an incident like that when it happens at one of the fastest corners on the circuit and everyone's trying to fight for the same space. Defensive for Ian Shu on Kane Ryder, and Kane will have the inside for Siberia. How early does Shu decide to turn in? Not early enough to initiate contact, which is good to see, and he'll get the move around the outside, straightening up the car a little earlier and getting a better exit as a result. But now Mitchell Albert is right in this as well. This could be very crucial for Albert and Zhu, who are fighting hard over those top places in the championship.
Yeah, what they'll be looking at is whether they need to be in front coming out of MG or behind, and whether they can make that slipstreaming move to the start-finish line and get past before the start-finish line. Then they'll know where they want to be on that last lap. So it'd be interesting. There we go, points. So Mitchell Albert's now up into second, Kane Ryder's third. They're still swapping positions, so that anything could happen there. And Steve Cordes is equal third, so on equal points. And then Ian Zhu is 1 point back, and that's about to change again as he moves. If he takes the lead of the race, that'll change again. So quite interesting. McBurney's sort of out of the picture there. It's back on 69 points. So.
Yes, well, meanwhile, Race Control have issued another drive-through penalty to Adrian Gretsch, and that was for the incident with Oliver Arnott that we caught on replay. No surprise to see there was a penalty for that. Very clearly running right into the back of him in the braking zone and needlessly causing an incident. So Gretsch will tour through the pits now. That's him right there going for it. I'm interested to note that we actually haven't lost that many cars despite the incidents that we've seen. The only cars that haven't emerged back from the pits are Ronald Long and Martin Lipsky, as well as Ross Hansen. Thompson and Arnott have gotten back out there despite a lot of service being taken, and they'll continue on as Matthew Becker here in 15th place trying to get past Ashley Cutchy. This is a very interesting battle as well. 13th to 17th all covered by a mere 2 seconds or so.
Yeah, so, even if they're not winning the race, if you're not battling for first place, they're having a wonderful race and a great time. They're racing hard here, and, like you say, they're not going to threaten the podium, but they're having a fantastic night.
It looks like Ronald Long and Martin Lipsky actually both had an incident there that Race Control is investigating. We'll see if we can grab that for review and see if what if any decision Race Control is going to make from it. Regardless, Kane Ryder still holding on to the lead from Ian Zhu, and Mitchell Albert dropping back a little bit there through the first couple of corners, but he still has the slipstream, and he'll still have a chance to have a run at these two if they battle hard. This is the incident between Ronald Long and Martin Lipsky. Let's see then as they come into the turn here. Yeah, it looks like it happened at Southern. Oh, okay. Right. So that's what happened there. Martin Lipsky running straight into Ronald Long as he was recovering from an incident. That'll be probably Ronald Long getting pinged for a dangerous re-entry.
I wouldn't have liked to have been on driver cam on that one.
Yeah, would have been a very nasty surprise. We'll see again how this worked out here for these two. This is what initially dispatched Ronald Long. He got tapped and he spun around. Now, by his teammate no less. That's not ideal, but he then rushes to get back onto the circuit, and he does stop to let cars through, but then he emerges back onto the racing line as soon as Lipsky comes in, and it's only a split-second decision that Lipsky would have had to make there. Probably could have gone to the left side of the circuit as a further problem for David Riviere, and Gustavo Cirillo has also lost a position as well thanks to an incident. It's all going off here with just 5 minutes to go.
Yeah, Zhu's grabbed the lead again from Kane Ryder, so they're still fighting and battling and trying to work out where they want to be for that last lap. Mitchell Albert sitting right in the wheel tracks. The front two seem to be changing position quite often, but third place seems to be stuck just sitting there because you can't pass second place because second place is getting a toe off the guy in the lead. So you've got that DRS train, but it's a slipstream train instead.
Yep. And then there were 4 at the front of the field. It looks like Daniel McCrohan has lost touch with this pack now, but all it takes is a little coming together and he'll be right in it again with big curb usage from Ian Zhu. And he's understeering. He's having some trouble there in the number 35. Seems like he's just leaving himself open to attacks from here. Ian will try his best to stay in the lead from here, but it looks like Ryder will get him around the outside coming into Lukey Heights if he can keep this up here. But Lukey is such a difficult corner to get an outside move done at. Seems like you're better off just moving straight to the inside and falling back into line.
Yeah, it's the camber of the road changes as you get to the outside there over the top of the hill, and it sort of becomes a little bit off camber, and you just can't do an outside run there. But we'll see now. He's right in the wheel tracks. We're going to come down the main straight. Can he get something done before he gets to the start finish line? Does look like he's got it this time. I would say Kane Ryder was in front as they went over the line. So that's the interesting thing now. Is that going to work on the last lap? So does he want to be in second place? What have we got left to go? We've got 3 minutes left on the clock. So what are we looking at? 2 laps?
2 laps, yeah.
2 laps?
Yep. 2 laps to go.
And here it's a chess game. So Mitchell Albert's trying to get himself into the middle of the pack so that he's got a chance to do that overtake on the last lap and be involved in that. Otherwise he's going to sit there in third. And Vaughan Ryder's to drop back a little bit. Oh, no, down to McCrone to drop back a little bit. But Kane Ryder back in the lead.
Yeah, with banging wheels a little bit with Ian Shue there. It looked like the front right of Shue made contact with the left rear of Ryder for a second there as they got into the hairpin, but they escape any big slides, any big damage for the time being. And it looks like this top 3 are now dropping Vaughan Ryder as well. So we'll have to wait and see if Vaughan can stay in touch with these guys, maybe be a little more aggressive into the braking zone of MG. Steve Cordes is still holding on to 6th spot at the moment. It doesn't look like he's making much headway. This is the battle further back in the field. Kutchi now at the front of it with Matthew Becker trying up the inside of Siberia. Not as much of a good run there with the title line out of the corner. But through the hay shed complex they come. For now, it's the white flag being flown for Kane Ryder at the front of the field. Ian Shue having a massive slipstream run, trying around the outside as well as the 25 of Mitchell Albert, but Albert's going to have to yield here and let the top 2 fight amongst themselves. Could be some lap traffic making an appearance here. Just up ahead, it is Ronald Long, who's re-emerged from the pit lane here. Now, will he let these guys go and continue their battle, or will he be the spanner in the works?
Where do you not want to be on the last lap? Right in front of the lead. He's done a great job. Sat on the inside, got out on the throttle. You just go, please don't put me here.
Oh! That was an aggressive turn in there from Kane Ryder. Bit of a bump to Ian Shue. But they resume running. And Mitchell Albert's right in it here. This little coming together could bring Vaughan Ryder right back into contention. This is such an interesting battle through Hayshed, flat out. Let's see what they can do. Ian Shue trying his best here to hold on. The inside into Lukey Heights, though. He'll keep it just for the time being, but a little slide in the middle of the corner, making it difficult for him to maintain. Stays middle of the road into MG, but now he's left himself open to an attack. He has a slide, and Kane Ryder will try to go through on the outside here. I think Mitchell Albert's the one with the most advantage here. Both Ian Shue and Kane Ryder having to go side by side through the final corner, costing each other time, almost interlocking wheels. And here is the run from Mitchell Albert. Ryder has the momentum here. 3 wide across the line, just grabbing second from Ian Shue at the end there was Mitchell Albert, as Kane Ryder is your race winner.
Wow, what a finish. 3 abreast. So it's Kane Ryder's taken the win. And was it Ian Shue second?
No, it was Albert. Albert just got him by 200ths.
Wow, what a finish.
Yeah, wow, what a finish. Yeah, there'll be the little pause at the line here to see where exactly they all were. That's all that was in it at the end. It was a matter of maybe just the distance of one of the front wheels there that Mitchell Albert had over Shue.
That little bit of a slide from Ian Shue at MG has cost him the win, and he's right back to 3rd place. That's harsh.
Yeah, very harsh indeed. Well, Kane Ryder will celebrate now with that win in the final round of the sport category here at Phillip Island. We've still got cars coming across the line here. It looks like Adrian Gretsch is going to be the last finisher on the lead lap, with Thompson, Armit and Long coming across the line 1 or more laps down. Here comes Adrian Gretsch having to deal with a drive-through penalty over the course of this race, but still getting to the finish, which is the main thing. We couldn't say the same for the likes of Martin Lipsky and Ross Hansen, who are our only 2 retirements from this final round of the season in the sport category. So that's all that was in it there at the front of the field. 11 thousandths of a second by Kane Ryder over Mitchell Albert and Ian Zhu. Fawn Ryder will come home in 4th place with Daniel McCrohan a distant 5th. Steve Curtis, he'll be spewing about the incidents he was involved in. Could have been right in the mix there. In 14th place. Ashley Cutchy up 12 positions as well. Big shout out to Ash for getting that one done, with Dean Williams and Matthew Becky 16th and 17th. Then Wade, Reed and Millington rounding out the top 20. Such a disaster for Hayden Millington. He was right there in the battle for the lead. Riviere and Gillespie will come home 21st and 22nd, only a 10th of a second between them. And then Harvey, Cassidus and Gretsch will be our last finishers on the lead lap. Thompson and Armit 1 lap down, 3 laps down for Ronald Long, with Lipsky and Hansen our retirements from this race. What a race it was indeed, and looks like we're going to have a chat to our top 3 here. First off, Kane Ryder. Fantastic drive to the win there, Kane. Qualified on pole and won the race, but it was far from being that simple.
I did actually win it. I thought I got 2nd. Oh, there you go. No, I actually thought Mitchell got it.
Now you're classed as winning by 100th of a second.
Oh, wow, man. That's why you race. That was clean. Well, clean for me anyway. Clean, respectable racing. I mean, it's so easy to slide into a car along here because, you're really pushing the limits of the car, and, we only had slight touches throughout the race. So, I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed that. That was great.
Yeah, it was thoroughly enjoyable to watch as well. You get a bit of a NASCAR mindset going, don't you, around a track like this? You're just waiting for those final opportunities to get the moves done. You can't afford to get them done too early because your rival will just come back at you.
Yeah, well, I was saying the last lap then coming out down off the corner down the hill, I said, well, I think Mitchell's got this because, he had that nice space between the cars. But man, yeah, that was intense. So, you love winning those sort of races.
Yeah, indeed. We're seeing again on production feed just how close that 3-wide finish was. Fantastic stuff from you, Kane, in the final round of the season, and I'm sure you'll be taking this success forward.
Yeah, absolutely. We've actually started a team, Team Max Boost, so we're looking for any capable drivers out there that like league racing as well. So.
Yeah, indeed. Fantastic stuff. Make sure to shoot Kane Ryder a message if you're interested in joining up. Is there anyone else that you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Well, FRG for sure. Like, this has been one of the better leagues I've definitely joined. They do a great job in race control. It all happens very quick. So yeah, and obviously you guys have done an amazing job all season.
Thank you very much, Kane Ryder, for joining us for the post-race winners interview. 2nd place on the road, David, was Mitchell Albert. You've had a chance to catch up with him.
Mitchell nearly did it. That was a fantastic finish.
Yeah, how cool was that? 3 wide at the end. It was a bit of classic Formula Ford at Phillip Island, wasn't it? So it was really fun to race with those guys.
Yeah, it looked like it was. You were stuck there in 3rd and couldn't get in between them in that sort of last 5 laps. You were trying everything, but it's a great finish, and you had that opportunity where they sort of got side by side out of MG, and I thought, you've got a chance for this because you were the guy with the slipstream.
Thanks. That's really nice of you to say. I actually just couldn't keep up with them except for the slipstream, so I'd love to say that it was all strategy, but those guys without the slipstream would have powered past me for sure, so I was happy to hang in there.
Awesome drive. Who'd you like to thank for the night?
You know what? I'd love to just thank everyone who's put this series on. I've not done a series like this before, and it's just been so amazing to turn up, so easy to turn up, but I know that probably took a huge amount of work from a bunch of people. So thanks to everyone behind the scenes for making our Monday nights a bit more enjoyable.
Awesome. Thank you very much for saying it.
Cheers.
Great stuff from Mitchell Albert, grabbing a second spot and finally finishing third after starting in seventh. Ian Chu from Vermilion Motorsports. Congratulations on that, Ian. It was a tough fight and you were right in it for the win.
Yeah, no, 100%. It was a bit of a pity that I finished last out of the three, but I've got to say I enjoyed the process and the respectful racing between us today. That was really good.
Yeah, indeed. Wasn't without those tiny little heart attacks, though, with multiple cars being involved in that lead battle, falling out thanks to big crashes.
100%. Now, that was on my mind the entire time, especially towards the end of the race, because I was just thinking about I've got to avoid one of those myself and not to put Kane or Mitchell in the wall. So I think I did a pretty good job doing that.
Yeah, and with that result, you managed to secure, I believe, the fifth place in the championship thanks to that. So all up, pretty good season from you.
Yeah, could have done better. I have to be honest towards the end of the season, but I'm happy with the last race, and I'm looking forward to the next season.
As are we, Ian. Is there anyone else you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go celebrate?
Oh no, just thank you everyone for their clean racing so far this season. I know I've made mistakes here and there, and I do apologize for those. And yeah, thank you to my girlfriend V that has supported me all the way throughout this season, and my team Vermilion Motorsport behind me, as well as my first season racing with them. So it was a fantastic experience so far.
Fantastic experience watching you race as well, Ian. We're going to let you go and celebrate that podium with Kane and Mitchell. Well, that concludes the sport category here, David. Now we move into the pro category as we check out those final championship standings there. Roberts, we have to congratulate on the title. Mitchell Albert with the third place, getting into second spot there. Kane Ryder all the way up to third. What a performance.
Fantastic, considering Kane and his Vaughan only joined the series after the start. We'd already run a round or two, so they've done a great job to get themselves well up the field during that. And I see Kane and Steve, there'll actually have to be a count back there for who's third.
Yeah, actually there will be. Yeah, equal on 95 points. So we'll confirm therefore, I suppose at some point, the final standings for them. But in the pro category, well, it's once again a matter of the race for second, or maybe even the race for third at this stage. Damon Woods on 170 points. He's already taken the title by a long way. Kobe Williams in second, with now Caleb Hydes and Dylan Burse fighting over third, with Matthew Hansford Taylor not that far behind either. William Lowing, the privateer, trying to be the spanner in the works in the Eclipse Sim Sports machine.
Yes, and then we've got Chase Saxel, young Chase there in seventh place, so that's a great showing from him. And it's his first season with us, and you know, as I said, he's a young go-karter, I think 12 years age, somewhere close to that anyway. But yeah, it's great to see the young guys getting out there and mixing it with the what I'll call seasoned professionals in sim racing. So, and Jordan Mazzaroli's had a good season. He's had a bit of tough trouble the last couple of races from what I've seen. Ben Barguana's featured on a number of the races. We've seen Ben right at the front, so that's been great. And Chris Mitchell is always a class act and always out there in the middle of some trouble somewhere.
Yeah, indeed. We'll see if he can manage to overtake Ben Barguana for 9th place in the final round of the season. And have a look at the track. It's wet out there for the pro category as they're almost halfway through qualifying.
There's a lot of spray, but it's not as wet as you think. So, what the weather's saying. And the weather is saying that we have no rain.
Yeah.
So it's obviously a wet track, and it will dry, and it's going to dry now through qualifying, and then there's in in the sim world, there's a little bit of a time break. So the race won't start until a little bit later than that. And there'll be time for this to dry out. But I think it's going to, looking at the road now, I think it'll be damp from the start of the race. And I think it could be pretty much dry by the end. Depends on if the sun comes out. But it does say partly cloudy, so it is going to clear in the next 15 minutes. The clouds are going to clear and we're going to see the sun.
Yes, but not much because the sun's quite low in the sky here, just coming up to 4 p.m. in sim time. Yeah, there was a big bank of rain passing over the circuit in practice, but it has since left, and we are not going to have any more rain falling onto the track for the remainder of the night. So this is the challenge for the drivers. They have to try and negotiate a pretty wet circuit here in qualifying, and usually in wet qualifying, you see some drivers outside of where you'd usually expect them.
I'm looking at some of the lap times. It looks like they're running about 3.5 to 4 seconds off dry pace. So that says it's pretty dry out there, even though it looks
Yeah, they're obviously going to have to take care into the issues that they're having, but we have a message here from Scott Rankin, who has been with us from the start of the season. I came in a couple of rounds ago to fill in for him. He wasn't able to make it, and the same has been true for the last couple of rounds running. But yeah, it's just fantastic to see that message there from Scott. Really fantastic to have him tuning in as well. Hello to you, Mr. Rankin. Hopefully you enjoy the show.
Yeah, don't pick us too hard.
Well, thanks very much for that lovely message, Scott Rankin, and hopefully you'll be here to call the next season of Formula Ford Australia Esports. And we're already seeing some racing here in qualifying as Kobe Williams goes to the top of the standings. Chase Saxild going for a big adventure there. Hopefully we don't see anything like this in the race.
Yeah, they're going everywhere.
Yeah, car parts will be
like fireworks, wasn't it? They're flying off everywhere.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Back onto the road.
Yeah, indeed we will. Kobe in the lead in qualifying by a mere 0.04 of a second over Damon Woods. Seth Burkhart's currently sitting in third spot. We're waiting to see if there are any improvements from drivers in these final few minutes of qualifying. It'll be a truly open qualifying session here in the Pro class, and you can already see there that there's a bit of a dry line forming, so that will help the drivers.
Oh, another one, that's Cooper Allen round at the top of the hill, I think it is.
Yep, indeed it is. So, we've got Caleb Hides there, obviously enjoying himself in Melbourne on Friday night. Of course, we had the FIA Motorsport Games qualifier at Fortress Melbourne, and SimSpeed was there to call all the action. Fantastic to see. Obviously, Caleb interested in having fun as much as racing seriously.
So there you can see that dry line again there. So this is going to be pretty much a dry race. But the nice thing is this slightly wet surface has obviously unseated a couple of people and stirred up the grid, which is just what we like to see. Ben Barguana up there in P2, right on Damon Woods' tail. 2 tenths back.
Yeah, good stuff from Barguana there, as Woods will negotiate Miller corner. Ben at the moment, well, it explains why he managed to get that second position. He was in the middle of a slipstream pack, and it's really crucial in qualifying around Phillip Island. I've done many a broadcast at this circuit, and the story is always the same in qualifying. You see drivers doing their best to come out in a group so that they can all get the benefit of the slipstream down these long straights.
Yeah, the trouble is that it's all right to get the slipstream down the long straights, but somebody makes a mess in the corner and the whole thing loses time. So sometimes you can actually be better off, even though the slipstream's great, you can be better off.
Yeah, sometimes you can be. Only sometimes, though. I think in these lower-powered cars, you'd much rather have a car in front of you dragging you along down the straights than without. It's really luck of the draw whether or not you get a fast time or get involved in an incident, and it seems for the time being Bargwanna was involved in one himself. Damon Woods punching a hole through the air for the cars behind him here as Hansford Taylor was in the slipstream. He gets up to second place there with a fantastic time. Still 2/10 off what Damon Woods could do. And Caleb Hydes is there too, trying his best to get an extra lap on the board here. Dylan Burst, meanwhile, going up into second spot. And have a look at the gap there, 14 thousandths of a second for provisional pole.
You can see there we're riding on board with Damon Woods. You can see him sliding the car through Eastern Loop, you know, opposite lock and just tweaking the front end, just trying to turn it in and keep the car balanced on the edge all the way through there. It was beautiful to watch. I see his car's back to blue this week, so we're not gold this week.
Yeah, I think he's taken some advice from the broadcast and maybe from the other drivers around him at Navarra. It certainly looked a little bit toilety out there in the Spanish sun, but back to a resplendent, nice blue with little gold highlights there on the number one. William Lowing improving to third place, Ben Miles to 11th, and Chris Mitchell with a fantastic time there, 5 thousandths of a second behind Damon Woods. He's up on the front row as the checkered flag flies.
How fantastic is that? Well, we've all got to cross the line once more, so that could easily go back to 10. But as the track is drying, every lap should be a little bit faster than the last one. So we'll see what comes now as Woods takes his run down. He's not had a tow at all, so I wouldn't expect him to necessarily improve, but we'll see how he goes.
Yeah. Whoa, Hansford Taylor and Hydes locking out the front row for Eclipse.
That's what I said. It's the last lap. It's going to get quicker.
Yeah, certainly is. Let's see if there's any further improvements from this pack here. Anyone making big moves up? Seth Burkhardt and Cooper Allen and James Chastaneuf. Bargwanna and Saxfield up to 6th and 7th. Burkhardt's now on the front row here. Caleb Bellack not improving. Hayden Vell does to P12. And Alex Beswick, just as the timer runs out, gets into 13th place. What an end.
Ended up 10th.
Yeah, good call from you there, David. That grid is going to be magnificent. Well, Matthew Hansford Taylor and Seth Burkhardt will line up on your front row there with Caleb Hydes and Cooper Allen in 3rd and 4th. Damon Woods will put the number one into P5 at 5 at the very end with Ben Bargwanna and Chase Saxild lining up in 6th and 7th with Dylan Burse joining Saxild there on the 4th row. James Chastaneuf and Chris Mitchell will round out your top 10.
Poor Chris. So P11, William Lowing, a long way out of position, normally right at the front, and so is Hayden Veld sitting there in 12th. Two guys that we should see come through the pack.
Yeah, for sure.
Goes to Alex Beswick and Kobe Williams. Now, what's Kobe doing back in 14th? He obviously had that issue on a spin and upset his race, or his qualifying session. Sean Doyle, Brody Shepherd, teammates sitting there on row 8. Row 9, we see Callum Newton and Ben Miles. Ben's a long way back tonight as well, 18th, normally a little bit further up. Sam Chapman and Caleb Dawson sitting there in 19 and 20.
And then it's Caleb Bellack in P21 alongside Nico Mendez, and then rounding out our field, Jordan Mazzaroli and James Foster. That's 24 cars taking to the start here at Phillip Island for the final round of the Formula Ford Australia E-Series here at Phillip Island Circuit. What a championship it has been. What a great turnout we've seen from some of the best sim drivers in Australia, and plenty of real life Formula Ford drivers making an appearance as well across all of these rounds. I've loved being a part of this series, and we get to go one more time here for a 30-minute race at one of Australia's best circuits. The revs rise on a drying track, and we are away. Good initial getaway from our front row. Immediately moving across there, I think, was Dylan Burst to try and get some extra slipstream off Chase Saxeld as the spray rises on the way into the opening corners of the lap. Hansford Taylor is going to lead us through, with Burkhart's holding on to second. Hyde's still trying to get around him here, round the outside of Southern Loop in the wet. He's going to catch the grass, and Hyde's goes slithering off the racetrack.
Oh, and there's someone else backwards there in the middle. That's
Beswick.
Alex Beswick. And oh, look out.
Oh. Cool. Sam Chapman had to really jump on the anchors there to avoid running into him as they're down into Miller for the first time. Seth Burkhart's trying to hold on versus Cooper Allen here, and he'll get it. He'll keep it up the inside of the hairpin. Siberia belonging to Damon Woods here. He'll move ahead of Ben Barguana and park it on the apex, but he'll also park it across the curb and onto the grass. Not a good run there for Mr. Woods, and Dylan Burst stands half a chance of getting through as our top three are breaking away from the rest of the field.
Yeah, and one of the front three seems to be popping in and out a little bit, so hopefully he's not got any computer connection issues, but now it's going to be Woods going to try and get his head down and get back on the front three. Ben Miles, what an awful start from Ben tonight. So he'll get it back on the road and he'll go chase them hard all the way, and I'm sure he'll find someone to race with.
Yeah, indeed. We've also seen Kobe Williams drop down a fair way. He's down in 20th at the moment, with Mazzaroli having an issue and falling back into 23rd spot. Some chaos happening at the rear of the field, but we're about to see a pass for the lead coming into turn one. Cooper Allen with the momentum over Matthew Hansford-Taylor will move into the lead. Seth Burkhart's still right there to take advantage. Will he be able to, though, as a little bit of a dip into the grass there for Cooper Allen will allow Hansford-Taylor around the outside of Southern Loop. Just manages to catch a little bit of the dry line just in time, and there we go, off the dry line for Cooper Allen. He spins in front of the field.
Oh, don't move.
Yep, just stay there, mate. Got to let him go past. Oh, yeah, he wants to get going, doesn't he? Yeah. But he has to wait for a reasonable gap.
The whole field.
Oh, man, falling all the way down to 23rd.
He'll be kicking himself for that, he will. But, you know, that when you're trying that hard in the front, you saw how quickly he just lost the rear, and he was around in the second. It was fabulous. Nobody else caught him. Nobody else ran into him. He did a great job of sort of keeping the car still and out of trouble and not rolling back into the pack. So, really a bit of intelligent driving there from Cooper Allen. Well done.
Yeah, this drying track is obviously making things very hard for our drivers. If you're on the dry line, you're fine, but you go off into the wet like Cooper Allen did at the exit, the car will just snap on you, and that's not something we usually see in these cars with such low power, but wet conditions will make these cars as hard to drive as your average V8 supercar. So this will be a good lesson for a lot of the drivers in throttle control if they're not already aware, which I'm sure most of them are.
So here we see 53 Will Lowen, who's a real world Formula 4 driver, really putting it on Hayden Veld in front of him, and he's trying hard. He's got it stuck up inside there, and he's not one goes through. He's made that a solid line of cars, and they both moved past Chastanov there. But Will Lowen's done some laps around here from memory, and he knows how to drive a Formula Ford, so I think that gives him a little bit of advantage in this correct.
Here's a replay, thanks to FRG Esports, of Caleb Bellack off the start here. Now, we're not sure exactly what's going on here, but evidently some drama further back in the field as they made their way through the first turn. Live, the battle for the lead is still going on here, with Burkhart's moving up in front of Dylan Burst. Barguana is still right with them as well, but here for Caleb Bellack, just running into the back of the 101 there, Sam Chapman, and going off the racetrack there. He managed to make a great recovery on the grass, but still, race control might want to have a word with him about that, and they certainly have. Drive-through penalty for the 43.
Now here we see the Eclipse guys really attacking each other and ganging up a little bit on on Bargwanna and Lowing, but these guys need to work together and take it to the Eclipse team, because there is teammates and they are talking on the radio, so they've got communications between each other. But it's hard. It does give them a little bit of an advantage, but tonight's been good. We've seen a lot of people up there in the front that aren't normally there, and that's great to see. As we can see now, set birth charts, but Woods has snatched the lead. So what a great drive through from the third row of the grid in the first couple of laps. Damon has clamped his foot down on the lead of the race, and tends to hold it for as long as he can, I expect. But I wouldn't be surprised to see
Whoa.
Big save in the middle of it.
That was a tank slapper and a half for William Lowing, and he'll lose a couple of positions for the time being, but he'll get back into the rhythm shortly, I'm sure, as interlocking wheels for Hayden Veld and Ben Bargwanna. They come together and they are not separating. Those two cars are stuck. Oh, and they finally managed to disengage with each other, but there's left front suspension damage for Bargwanna now, and it looks like he'll unfortunately be coming into the pits for repairs.
So here we are on board with Lowing in this tank slapper. Let's see what happens. You can see they're all sliding and slipping and sliding. He tried to get on the power here, and on the inside of the wet line, it snapped and snapped and snapped. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I love that. Fantastic stuff. William Lowing definitely drawing on his real-life experience for that one. But he'll remain in fifth for the time being. Looks like Sean Doyle and Caleb Dawson have had a problem further down low. Newton and Beswick as well involved in that. Meanwhile, we'll see on board here Hayden Veld. You see Bargwanna in the 171 next to him. They turn in. Bargwanna suffers a little bit of understeer, and then that just results in the wheels locking together, and they weren't able to get free.
Very unfortunate, but it sort of happens in these conditions occasionally. I was just checking because I've seen Seth Burchardt's popping in and out again. I'm just checking his connection. It's good, so he should be fine.
Yep, for now at least. Damon Woods still holds on to the lead. We're seeing visits to the pits from Veld, Newton, Dawson and Bargwanna, all for damage, I would presume. There's just been some chaos erupting throughout this field.
And no fast repairs in Pro.
No.
Like the real world, you have an accident in the real world and rip a corner off, you're out of the race. And the same thing here. So it causes them give a little bit more respect than you get in a lot of sim racing. And I really think it's been a great addition to the series. We don't do it in sport, it's only in Pro. No fast.
Yep, so going to be at least a few minutes in the pits for those drivers to get that damage repaired. This is what happened to Dawson here through Hayshed. Very difficult part of the circuit to have an incident at. It looked like it really happened at Lukey Heights, trying up the inside, and there was contact ahead, just ever so slight. And there was a spin there, unfortunately, for the number 8 of Dawson, and that just involved Callum Newton as well.
The front wheels were all out of alignment. Lots of them left-hand front suspension.
Yeah, done and dusted, and he'll be in the pits for a while. Sean Doyle as well looks like potentially a confirmed retirement from the race there. He towed back to pit lane.
The man on the move at the moment is Will Lowing. Here he is, down the outside. After that tank slapper, he's now got himself back up into a podium position, into third, and he's setting out after Dylan Burse.
Yep. Some big moves happening in the top of the field here. Woods is continuing to hold on to the lead by about half a second, which is a good place to be in on a track that for now it looks like isn't actually going to be drying out all that much. The cars are still throwing up quite a bit of spray here as Lowing goes very deep there into the hairpin as a drive-through confirmed for Caleb Bellac there. Actually, is that another one, or is that a repeat of the same incident? Okay, repeat of the initial graphic that we saw earlier on in the race. So we'll turn our attention back here to William Lowing, Matthew Hansford-Taylor, chasing down Dylan Burse. A 5-second penalty for Jordan Mazzaroli on lap 1 for causing a collision once again. So Yeah, that's certainly unfortunate for Mazzaroli, up in 15th place at the moment, up 8 spots, but he'll probably finish down around 17th or 18th, depending on how things go for him. We'll have to keep an eye on this battle for second, though, because Damon Woods is driving away from the field at the moment. I was not expecting this. The battle for second has been tripping up on each other quite a bit here, and they're not able to get as much of a run as they'd like on Woods, who's just minding his own business right now.
Now, Lowing's got the move down the outside here of Burst. If he can hang it out around the outside, he'll be on the inside into Southern Loop and he'll be through. Now, if he can get by there, I think he's got the pace. He's the only one there with the pace to go and chase Damon Woods. And Will Lowing, right at the moment, has the fastest lap of the race, but he hasn't been able to get that move done.
Yeah, Burst was just a little deeper on the brakes into Southern Loop and was able to maintain the outside line there, avoid his tyres from overheating too much, running over the cooler, wetter parts of the track. These cars, of course, have treaded tyres, so there's no need to switch to rain tyres or slicks or what have you. These tyres are suited for all weather conditions, though I'm sure some drivers would disagree if the track was flooded.
Yeah, they're a treaded tyre, they clear the water, they're not great in deep water, but these guys are running on what it's pretty good tyre. It's got good grip and it's pretty consistent. It's the main thing, and around goes another one that is
the number 50 of Sean Doyle, and he's received a 20. Oh my God! Okay. Yeah, and well, Doyle escaped back to the pits without approval from race control, so he's just been given a 20-second time penalty for that one. I don't think we'll see him back out on the racetrack, though.
The good thing is, touch wood, and I shouldn't say but we haven't seen the safety car yet.
I think he might have just spoken it into existence. You got to be careful in sim racing commentary. You mention something, you tend to manifest it, as Chris Mitchell battling with Caleb Hides there for 9th and 10th place. James Foster is right with them as well. It's pretty good to see that Mitchell's been able to hold on to a consistent position in the midst of all of this.
Yeah, there was, in the background there was somebody in a white car spearing wide on Doohan corner. It's such a fast corner that, in a Formula 4, you just cannot believe the speed that you arrived there at. And the whole car's shaking and rattling, and you turn in and it's all moving all over the road. It's a very, very exciting piece of road. But now we're seeing, Burchardt's now got back past the Lowing, so Lowing, after he fighting there to take second place, now he's back and forth again. So he's parry and counter parry at the moment.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we saw in the sport class, was that back and forth between the drivers, and it all erupts on the final lap. So it really is a waiting game, but the wet weather adds another element to it. It's another aspect of just surviving this race. You need to be so careful, especially if you're side by side with another car. Got to be aware of where the dry line is and how much grip is available out there. You're literally driving the road in front of you most of the way around in wet conditions. Lowing picking up the slipstream here, squeezed a little bit by Seth Burchardt's, and look at the run they both got on Dylan Burst, but Lowing's not going to be able to find a way through here. Have a look at Matthew Hansford-Taylor as well. He's joined the party, and he's going to give a little push there to Seth Burchardt's. He's going to line up through into third place. For a few brief moments, can Burst get him up the inside in Southern Loop? That is the question, and it is answered inconclusively, side by side on the exit.
So Lowing, who looked good as he came onto the straight, ended up going right to the back of that pack, just because he couldn't find any clear road, and he was on the outside. So he had to lift a little bit because there was nowhere for him to go. Whereas Hansford-Taylor came down the other side, there's a bit of clear road, and through he came. Fantastic race.
Yeah, this is good stuff between these guys. Very respectful battle as well. Oh, that's a bit of pace loss there on the inside there for Burchardt's, and he's going to get spun around. Oh, no.
Not a place to sit. 92, that was Caleb Hyde's disappearance.
Yeah.
Beautiful avoiding action out into the dirt. Managed to miss him, but he had to get out of there. If you sit there, it's pretty much a blind corner. You're not looking at that point on the exit. and you're very, very committed. So you sit there and you're going to get hit.
Yeah, that's sad for Seth Burchardt, and I think Lowing is pretty blameless in all of that as well. It just didn't look like there was any intention behind that. You'll see that Burchardt's at the inside of Siberia, just loses a bit of speed in the mid-corner. Lowing's trajectory is already sorted, and just gives him a little clip on the way through.
Yeah, unfortunate, but it is a clip on the rear. We'll have to wait and see. Race Control will have a look. Yeah, beautiful bit of driving there by Caleb Hides at the end. That was fabulous.
Yeah, good avoiding action taken there, but Hides is still a long way down in 10th spot. I don't know if he's going to be able to make up much further pace as Burse and Hansford Taylor are now swarming all around Will Lowing here to try and keep him behind and stop him from getting into the top three. Almost banging wheels with Dylan Burse there was the real-life Formula Ford driver, and now the Eclipse teammates are going to have to start working together. There's only 14 minutes left in the race, and Damon Woods is 2.5 seconds up the road.
He's driven off into the distance, which is so rare to see at Phillip Island because of the toe. But he's obviously had the pace and he's got that little gap, and just as soon as he had that gap, he put his head down and just all time. But here we're seeing Lowing is trying everything. He's trying left, he's trying right, he's in the slipstream, he's trying to overtake the straight line down the inside. He is trying everything. He's all over the mirrors of Hansford Taylor. He's in the left mirror, in the right mirror. He's trying to worry him. He's trying to get his attention so that he just takes for a second looking in the mirror instead of where he's going and misses a brake point or misses a turn-in point. And that's what Lowing's trying to do. He's trying to unsettle the guy in front.
Yeah, but this is the issue, though. From the Eclipse guys' perspective, they'd rather that Lowing didn't race them so hard, because that would give them the opportunity to all work together and all try to catch up to Damon Woods to try and grab the win. But Lowing, interested here in just racing as hard as you possibly can. He's trying to stay in touch. He's trying to be the guy who leads the charge up to Damon Woods, but none of it's working. Damon Woods and then Chris Mitchell setting at the fastest lap of the race there. Mitchell is now right in the midst of the battle for 5th place with Saxild Chastanov and Brody Shepherd. Look at this, the Racecraft Simulations car getting it done here on the Vermilion Motorsports number 55, right in the midst of it here. They're not too far behind the 2nd to 4th battle.
That's brilliant fastest lap, so he must have got a double toe or something, I expect. But it's, you still got to do the rest of the lap as well as a bit in the straight line, but that's a fabulous, fabulous lap, and Chris will be thrilled about that.
Yeah, he certainly will. Saxild running wide there and allowing his Racecraft Simulations teammate by, as now we see what further progress Mitchell can make here, running wide through Siberia, but in wet conditions, that's not the worst place to be. Sometimes, if you want to keep the tyres cool, you're better off keeping to the outside there, and you'll still get a better exit, getting on the throttle a little earlier than those around you. The track in general has such little real grip right now that that you're going to have to try and search for that advantage wherever you can. For now, Mitchell does look safe, but Chastanov attempting to drive away from the front of them here. Now they're going to have to start working together to try and catch up and maybe stand a chance at a top 3.
I think Mitchell's close enough that he's going to get a little bit of a toe off Chastanov, so I think he'll be on the back of him by the time they get down to Doon Corner. He'll be right on the back of him. Here we are, on board with Chris. He's sitting in that toe. See him start to gain now. He's starting to gain, and he's got in the distance of the hole in the air, and there we go, right on the back of him by Doon Corner.
Yes, indeed. Good stuff. Meanwhile, into Southern Loop. Nice and smooth on the inputs, or as smooth as you can be anyway, soaring away at the wheel. There's Chris Mitchell there as Lowing has gotten ahead of the Eclipse duo for a few brief moments. Hansford Taylor is going to come back at him, and they might pincer move him coming into Miller. Little bit of moving around there between all three of the drivers. Lowing's going to try and defend here from Hansford Taylor. Straighter exit from the hairpin, and he'll be in front into Siberia.
That's pretty impressive. They were boxing them in, where one's giving the toe and Lowing would get the toe, and the other one would sit beside him. So he actually, although he got the toe, he couldn't pull out of it to go anywhere. So hopefully it's a live screen, top and bottom, so we watching Lowing battling the two Eclipse cars, and on the bottom screen is
Mitchell. He's gotten ahead of Chastanov.
He's got Chastanov up halfway around that lap, so that's Chris Mitchell up into 5th place.
Yeah, great drive from Chris Mitchell so far. Don't want to commentators curse him, obviously, as race control has decided no further action for Seth Burchardt on the 9th lap for unsafe re-entry after his spin, evidently deciding that it wasn't really worthy of a penalty at that stage. But man, you can see how close these two battles are.
Yeah,
Burst and Hansford-Taylor grabbing Lowing on the way into turn 1, and Mitchell will continue to keep Chastanov behind him. Chase Saxfield's starting to come back now.
Now Lowing, here he is trying to get up the inside to split the pair of Eclipse cars.
And oh dear, Will Lowing has just received a 10-second time penalty from race control as around goes James Chastanov. Big drama there at turn 1, but big drama for Will Lowing. That little tap that he gave to Burchardt, well, I thought he was blameless, but race control disagrees. A 10-second time penalty for the number 53.
I thought he'd probably be in trouble for that. That's why I didn't say very much. But, at the end of the day, he touched the car in front and that car spun. So, there's Chastanov going wide at, where are we, Eastern Loop by the look of it? Yes. Luckily, hasn't lost too much time out of that, but certainly that's left Chris Mitchell and Chase Saxel to work together, and they are teammates and they do work together. And they'll work together now, try and catch up with this crew we're watching in front. But they're not that far behind if they play it smart.
Yeah, well, all you need to do is compare lap times, really. Hansford-Taylor, Lowing and Burst, they've been running mid-1 minute 40s. Meanwhile, Chase Saxel at the front of that 5th place pack set a 39.6 on the last lap, taking nearly a second out of this fight for 2nd place. So have a look at that. See, that's exactly what you want to see. They're going to do the switch here on the front straight. This is exactly what the Eclipse cars up front have been wanting to do the whole time, but Lowing's been throwing a spanner into the works. Mitchell's going to lead into the first turn here for the 5th place battle. Saxfield will try his best to stay in touch here, and they'll continue to march their way forward.
Well, actually, Reese, it's a 4th place battle because they're well within 10 seconds of Will Lowing.
Yeah, actually, good point. We got to remember that 10-second time penalty for Will Lowing. 3 wide. Careful. Lowing on the inside here coming into the hairpin. Hansford-Taylor has to back out of that one. And Lowing is going to get Dylan Burse on the exit as well. See, now the problem for Lowing is how hard does he want to drive to try and get a gap, but he's not going to be able to. 2 wide in Siberia. And he is off and now out of touch with the fight. Now, considering all of this, where Lowing is right now, the 10-second penalty is going to put him right between Mitchell and Saxfield. No, actually, no, it's not. It's going to put him. It's going to put him down in 11th place, just behind Caleb Hines. Yep.
Yeah.
Right. My apologies. I was looking at the wrong spot there.
Yeah, put him back into 12th place as well.
Yes.
But the big thing is these boys, Chris and Chase Saxel working this. Kobe Williams off the road. Kobe's had a tough night tonight. But he had a good weekend in Tasmania. And I think he took pole position in Tasmania for the Formula Ford round on the weekend.
Yeah, working his way really nicely around here as this 2nd place fight continues to show no signs of slowing down. I thought Lowing would have drifted off the back of Hansford-Taylor and Burse, but he's immediately gained all of that time back in the slipstream. I think now what Lowing's interested in is just preserving as good of a result as he can with that 10-second penalty. Right now, as things stand, Lowing is, 6.3 seconds behind the leader. Add 10 seconds to that, it puts him again just behind Caleb Hides in 11th place. But if he can gain a few more seconds, might be able to preserve a top 10.
Yeah, so it doesn't sound a lot, but it's a big penalty in a Formula Ford. 10 seconds covers a lot of the field. So that's very unfortunate, but hey, what's done is done. I'm more interested right now in the way these guys in Mitchell and Saxel are working together They're doing a great job, and they're not that far away. And that looked like Seth.
Oh, no.
James Chaston off again.
Yeah, Burkhart's had just set the fastest lap of the race.
Wow.
It's a real shame for Seth.
Here we
A
go.
good night going sour with contact into Siberia here. It looks like a third car involved in all of this, but Chastanov. Yeah, Chastanov, I think. Oh, wow. Yeah, that was not ideal. I think Chastanov just lost front grip on the way into Siberia.
That will really bent that front suspension. That's, I'm going to suggest he'll be in the pit lane. Here we go again. Will Lowing. Burst and Hansford Taylor 3 abreast down to the turn 1, and Lowing's got it this time. He's snatched second place again. Well, not really, but he has on the road.
Yep, on the road, I think is going to be what Lowing is aiming for here. The result won't reflect it, but his pace has been good enough to potentially win this race. But with Damon Woods jetting away from the field right now, I'm honestly surprised that none of these guys have been able to make any real headway on him. They've had the benefit of the slipstream down the straights here, but I think they've just been moving around too much. They've been getting too involved with each other, just letting Damon Woods get away.
And Damon's quick, and he's concentrating. He's out front. He's got nobody messing up his lines. He's just driving every lap as fast as he can, and with that little leaving that little margin for error, so he doesn't make that mistake. Because he can lose that 6 seconds. You lose it in one corner with one little mistake.
Yeah, that you do. So Woods, I think, should be left to his own devices for the time being. Just focus on getting that car home now with less than 3.5 minutes remaining on the clock. It looks like the battle's calmed down just a little bit between these three, but I think they're all waiting for the start-finish straight. That's where they always fan out and get things going. The gap between Hansford Taylor and Mitchell is now down to 2 seconds, and you see that Mitchell and Saxhild have been doing a beautiful job fighting their way forward here in this battle. And now Mitchell giving the slipstream to Saxhild. They're not allowing Brodie Shepherd to mess up their plan here either, and once again it's going to be a few more tenths lost for the battle for second place as Lowing and Hansford Taylor side by side cost each other a tiny bit of time. Race control reviewing the incident between Chastanov and Burchart's there, and we are just about on the verge here of Mitchell and Saxhild getting to within slipstream range of Hansford Taylor.
We've only got 2 minutes left, though, so I don't think they're going to quite make it. I think they're going to just fall a little bit short.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. If there is a coming together in this fight, then they'll instantly be in contention for a podium. This will be a very interesting end to the race indeed. It is a race for second, though. And for the moment, Dylan Burse is winning that race, as Lowing has to get back into line behind Hansford Taylor coming out of Siberia. There was almost contact between those cars. Now they just need to keep it calm, keep it collected, and they'll be able to have a good time on these final couple of laps, with Lowing at the moment setting 1 minute 39s, and now there being 1 minute and 39 seconds on the clock. Looks like this next lap is going to be the final one. So this is where the gloves are going to come off.
We'll see shortly as they cross the line. We'll see if they've gotten the white flag to indicate that last lap, and there it is. So Damon Woods out all by himself. He's a mile lead.
Yeah, it's out to nearly 7 seconds now. An incredible lead from Damon Woods, as Will Lowing has to take to the grass off the circuit there. He'll be second on the way into the first corner here. The Eclipse pair of Hansford Taylor and Burse will probably be pulling their hair out here, trying to figure out what they can do to win this battle.
They don't have to. They can just sit there.
They can, but, you know, would they? I don't think they would.
Because in all reality, he doesn't exist for them because he's 10 seconds further back down the road. So they actually don't need to race him. This is.
I think Lowing would disagree. He's trying to make sure that he exists as much as possible for these two, and you see the continued momentum from Mitchell and Saxhild. They're now to within almost a second of this battle. There could be some big changes here in the last few corners.
I just don't think they're quite close enough. They needed another couple of laps, another 2, maybe 3 laps. They've done a brilliant job and they've towed along Brodie Shepherd with them. It's just been fantastic effort from those guys. Concentrated, working together. Oh, there's a mistake. The mistake there is Hansford Taylor went a little bit. Oh, a big dive down the inside.
Oh, just enough space being given there.
Brilliant bit of driving there to just keep enough space. Oh, look, they're all over each other. Here's Damon Woods, and well done, Damon. What a brilliant class act. Just driven away from the best drivers in the country. And here we go, 3 abreast onto the straight. Oh, we're banging with that is unnecessary. I think that somebody may not be finishing the race.
Yeah, that's not ideal. The way that battle ended there, looked like a bit of ping pong actually between Will Lowing and Dylan Burst there. Just a slight bit of contact that resulted in a bounce and then another bounce as Burst was recovering the car.
I think that was a pretty deliberate bit of driving.
Maybe.
Bit of driving.
Maybe. We're not too sure. We only see what happens on the exterior view. In any case, looks like that's all of the cars across the line, and we can get ourselves our results in just a few moments' time. Sheer domination by Damon Woods at the very end of the race. He wins by 7.7 seconds over Matthew Hansford Taylor. Lowing and Burst only separated by mere hundredths, but remember, Lowing is going to be down in... well, that's interesting. Looks like Nico Mendez and Caleb Hydes cost each other time there. So in the end, Will Lowing is going to be classified in 7th with that 10-second penalty. So Burst, Mitchell, Saxhild and Shepherd. Great driving from all 4 of those drivers, with Mendez, Hydes and Burchards rounding out the top 10. James Foster will take up the 11th spot on the field, with Mazzaroli, Williams, Chapman and Beswick rounding out our top 15. It was very close between Beswick and Miles there in the end for 15th and 16th, and they are the last cars to come to the finish, with James Chastaneuf finishing 4 laps down. Retirements for Caleb Bellac, Sean Doyle and Cooper Allen. It was the same as well for Ben Barguana and Hayden Veld, with their coming together at the hairpin, with Dawson and Newton also out on the very same lap. Man, what a finish to the season it was. And we're going to see here the onboard from Dylan Burst, and he went for the big move, and there was a little bit of a tap there, and I think the fire came up there as
pretty clean actually.
A little bit of a tap, but we'll see now. Keep an eye on the wheel here. So Lowing trying to squeeze Burst a little bit there, and then Lowing comes into him, and Burst, you see Burst there, he's trying to keep the wheel straight.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what was going on there. I'd like to see that from maybe the other side too. I'm sure Race Control are looking at all of it.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. Regardless, that's going to be the end of the action from the pro class, and we have Damon Woods in with us. But before we have a talk to him, we'll see the onboard view from Lowing here. So up the inside goes Burst. That's another little tap, and then keep an eye on the wheel here for Lowing. Again, it sort of looks like he's trying to keep the wheels straight. I think that there was some tension between the drivers, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say that it was just an unfortunate coming together of the two of them. Trying to recover from the slides just put them back on the same trajectory towards each other.
Yeah, it was very, very strange, because in both cars it looked like they were keeping it straight, yet they were bouncing off each other. So not quite sure what went on there, but I'm sure Race Control will be all over it and know exactly what's going on.
Yeah, well, they'll get perspectives from the drivers as well, as we have Damon Woods with us now in the number 1, finishing P1. Fantastic drive from you, Damon. Just looked like a case of breaking away from the pack, and as they squabbled amongst themselves, you just minded your own business to the end.
Yeah, to be honest, that should not have been the result tonight for me. Dylan was out to a second and he could have very well caught, but Will decided to be huge-brained and throw a bomb and got them completely out of the draft, and yeah, I just drove away. So although it's a good result, to be honest, it's not the result that really should have happened, or at least there was a potential for it to not happen. So it is what it is. Made for a pretty boring race from my perspective, but I'm happy to finish the championship off with a race win and take 7 out of 8 wins. So it's a fair result. Yeah, I'm really happy with it.
Yeah, confirming yourself as the champion there. Yes, 7 from 8. That's pretty significant stats there, Damon, especially considering how tense the competition was all the way through the season.
Yeah, I'm spewing that Bercy got me at Navarra. I could have gone for 8 for 8, but it is what it is. You can always have a perfect season, but it's about as good as it could have gone. And yeah, I was happy that I was able to lock the championship up earlier and yeah, have a bit of a relaxed end to the season, just have a bit of fun. But yeah, it was awesome season.
Indeed, and we send our congratulations to you, Damon, our Formula Ford Australia E-Series champion for 2024. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to help you get it done?
Just got to thank Apex Steel and Aviation Component Services for their support in the real world. The Eclipse boys for always having an exciting race, so it's big thanks to them. And yeah, the FRG crew for always putting on a great event and putting on a perfect championship. So yeah, thank you very much.
Damon Woods there winning the final round to cap off a brilliant championship season. We're going to also have a chat to Matthew Hansford-Taylor, who joins us now, second on the road between you guys. That was a very intense fight with William.
Yeah, it was interesting. A bit all over the place. How you doing? But you know, oh well. And then too bad. Got second. I mean, couldn't be much worse, but yeah.
Yeah, indeed. Well, regardless, still a good season from you. You were right in the midst of the fighting all the way through.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. Had Gumby moments, a few errors, but yeah, couldn't have been worse really. Probably the best I've done in this series, so yeah, can't complain.
Yeah, indeed. Well, it's capping off the season with a second place for you, Matthew. Is there anyone you'd like to thank for it?
Yeah, big thanks to Eclipse Sim Sports. Everyone there. We've got Jackson Barry, who's pro spotter, Eddie Beswick, all the setup work he does, real life data, Hayden Veld, Byron Phillips, Cole Cotter, Cole's Cashies, and yeah, all them.
Well, that is going to round things out here. Thanks very much to Matthew Hansford-Taylor and Damon Woods for joining us in the commentary booth. Fantastic season of Formula Ford Australia esports here, David. Really happy to see, but it is not the end of the story. FRG organising the F4 Esports Australian Championship starting on September the 23rd, but pre-qualifying starting on the 9th of September. This is going to be a massive series.
Yes, it's a pro-only series. It's brought to you by Motorsport Australia, and it is their actual official F4 Australian Championship for Motorsport Australia. You will be crowned, the winner will be crowned Australian Formula 4 Esports Champion. Pre-qualifying is September the 9th. There is only 30 spots on the grid, that's it. So the pre-qualifying will be hectic. Pre-qualifying, 23rd of September, and it's at Yokohama. Grand Prix circuit is pre-qualifying. There'll be 2 sessions, an early and a late. You can only run in 1 session. There'll be an hour practice, and then there'll be an hour qualifying session, but it is lone, and you only get, I think it's 20 laps. So yeah, that's going to be really harsh. To get into the series is going to be hard, but open setups. I'm sure a lot of the guys we saw tonight will be stepping up into the F4 and seeing how they can go with a set of wings on it. But it's a 6-round series and going to be awesome fight.
Yeah, really looking forward to bringing it to you on SimSpeed TV. Big congratulations to our winners, to our champions from Formula Ford Australia, confirming our championship standings from the pro class. Damon Woods, of course, winning 7 of 8 rounds in this series and coming away with the title. We're loading in those final standings at the moment so we can fully review them, and there they are. Kobe Williams snatching second place in the championship with 105 points on the board. Dylan Burse securing third in the championship over Caleb Hides with equal on points with Matthew Hansford-Taylor. Lowing ultimately 6th place with Saxild and Mitchell elevating themselves to 7th and 8th. Fantastic stuff from them in the final round. And Ben Barguana, with unfortunately DNFing the final round, will still secure 10th spot just behind Jordan Mazzaroli. So in the end, David, a great season of racing.
Yeah, fantastic. And I think the fastest guy won, which is usually what happens. But a great job there. Great job by a couple of people who knew to the series, like Chase Saxel. I think he's done a fabulous job with a little help from Chris Mitchell. But they've been an absolute joy to have the series. Will Lowen stood out the privateer there running against the Eclipse team. I think he's done a great job. Tough night tonight, but he was fighting hard, and that's what it's about. It wasn't an easy series, and I think it's been a fantastic season. I can't believe it's over already.
Yeah, I can't believe it either, but once again, keep your eyes peeled in September for the FIA F4 Esports Australian Championship coming up next from the crew at FRG. Thanks very much for joining us over the course of this season. We want to thank FRG for putting this series together, and of course to all of the drivers for putting on a fantastic show all the way through. Huge shout out to Motorsport Australia as well, and Formula Ford Australia for helping to get the series off the ground and giving it their official support. We really appreciate that. I'm Reese Gardner here on SimSpeed TV. David Roberts with me in the comms box. Jay Kennedy behind the scenes all season, bringing you the live pictures. That is the curtain closing on the Formula Ford Australia E-Series.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.